I'm thrilled to be here today. And one of the things that you learn, is the most reliable news source in the world, of course, is Facebook. And according to Facebook, Dartmouth doesn't exist anymore. So I'm going to just start by thanking the best councillor the city of Halifax ever had, Gloria McCluskey, because I'm sure that Haligonians on both sides of the harbour are very, very proud of you. I met Gloria 3 times. And of course, most of you know with the council on the first one, she would never remember. I was a paddler on the lakes back as a kid, and Gloria met everybody and knew all the kids who were out there racing and so forth. And we all were going around with these shirts that said, it was just before the Barcelona Olympics, and they said, "No pain, no gain, no Spain." And we all had them, and we were all going to make the Olympic team. And of course, only a few of us did, and I wasn't one of them, obviously. The next time I met Gloria was during the I think it was 97 or 98 federal election. And you can imagine this was shortly after amalgamation, and Gloria wasn't very happy about that. And Mike Savage down here was running for the Liberals against Wendy Lill at the time, I think it was. And I was doing some work for CPAC, which is, for those of you who don't watch the channel, it's the National Public Affairs channel. And we were doing a riding profile. Well, I ended up going out with the Tory candidate. Who was knocking on doors for the Tory candidate but Gloria? And so we interviewed Gloria. I said, well, why are you knocking on doors for the Tory candidate? I will never vote for a Savage as long as I live. It was pretty clear. There was no other issue. But the problem is, what Gloria doesn't realize is that she was personally responsible for amalgamation. And most people don't know this, because she doesn't want people to know this story, is that the province was so worried about how good a mayor she was that they realized nobody could ever follow her. So they had to pack the city up and just amalgamate. That was it. Now, a number of years later, Gloria and I would end up getting elected in the 2004 election together to regional council. And at the time, it was still Halifax Regional Municipality. And of course, I was new. Gloria was the recycled councillor. Bill Karsten was on with us at the time, and Becky Kent, and Jim Smith. Jim Smith, I think, was the only person in Dartmouth that came back at that time. Now, for better or for worse, for those of you who know me, I kind of honed my independent streak from Gloria. And I was saying to Mike, as I listened to some of the stories about Gloria and about how, she doesn't mind telling people what she thinks and so on, that I kind of learned that from her as we went along. And I think that's for the best, really. She didn't care what the consequences were. She told you exactly what she believed. She didn't care what people thought. And in case you didn't know it, she made sure she knew what you thought. And I can tell you, the first few months on council, people thought that we didn't like one another, because the first thing I was talking about, getting all these calls about people and their dogs off leash. And I said, well, we need an off leash park, of course. And Graham's Grove would be a great location, because that's where I take my dog. Oh no, that was a bad idea. I thought I was going to get killed by it. And then Brightwood came up, and then there was the Dartmouth Crossing thing, and I got a history lesson on how Shoeby Park got created and so forth. But I also learned a lot. And we became very good friends. Now, the other thing is I sat between Gloria and Bill Karsten. And the two of them had this habit of agreeing violently. And to sit between the two of them, it was like, you were in the middle of a war. And you were Switzerland between the two of them half the time. And Peter Kelly, who was mayor at the time, would always look over and go, you guys, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. It was terrible. But it was just, everybody around there, we were all such passionate people. Now, Gloria's a fighter, we all know that. We all know the things she's fought for, fiscal accountability and the municipal auditor general, but she has a fun side too. And we had a system at the time that I think is probably gone now called Elmo. And Elmo was this projection system that put stuff up on the screen at council. And so Gloria went out and got a little stuffed Elmo doll. And every time somebody would say Elmo, up would pop this little Elmo doll on the council. And it was just one of those things that you knew about it. And so eventually when I ran provincially and got roped into going back to think about that in 2009, Gloria put one of my election pins on it. And I was very touched by that. I thought, this is really nice. She also gave me the very first donation I had in that campaign. It was only after they started to realize maybe she was trying to get rid of me. And the only thing I'm sad about with that is it's a shame she won't be around for the next election to see what pin goes on it next, I guess, because, but it might not have gone with the Elmo doll, I guess. So, all that aside, I just want to leave you with a serious note. You've heard from her family, and the one thing that Gloria is a champion for people, a champion for the community. We all know that. I mean, that's why you're all here. But there's one thing that's always been more important than that, and that's her family. And I can tell you that every time one of her grandchildren won a paddling medal, if her kids got sick, or, it was the hot sauce, or it was, I'm sitting next to the guy that keeps getting voted the sexiest man in HRM, this is the kind of stuff she would tell, or Elaine with her book, she'd have a book, or she'd have an article in the Globe and Mail or something, and we would all know about it. We would be the first people that knew about it, because she was so, so proud of that. And so it doesn't matter who she is, or what she stands for, the family was always the most important thing. So she's retiring from politics, and her voice is obviously going to be this, but I guarantee you it's not going to be silenced. And it will just speak in a different way. So you will always be our champion. You have always been a good friend to me, and I appreciate all I've learned from you, even when it's got me in trouble. But I appreciate that, and it means a lot because I'm very proud of what I've learned from you. Thank you very much.